right, so these are your notes for different ways to solve equations. Remember that your notes line up with whatever day it is in your journal. They're already glued in, so you just need to match the paper with what either I'm working on or the video that it's about. So make sure that it says Wednesday, September 6th. That's what 9/6 stands for. If you ever run into a page of notes that has the wrong day, but you can clearly see that it goes with the right, like it's in the order, it's the right video, it's probably because I made a mistake on the days because there was so many that I was making. So let's start with this. Remember, there are different ways to solve equations, and you're going to learn a trick today. We only knew the first way, which is solving with algebra. We use algebra to solve our equations, but there's also other ways to solve an equation, like plugging in answers or using the calculator trick called insolve. So let's start. I gave you some directions on how to solve with equations. It says circle and box the like terms. Remember, like terms are terms that look alike. That would be a like term, and that would be a like term. They're alike because they have x's, which means the other two numbers are alike because they don't have x's. This is the middle of my equation right here, and so you are, sometimes I draw a line to kind of help me stay separated, and sometimes I don't. But it keeps me kind of apart. These two like terms don't get to go together nice and easily because like they don't just make 2x's and 3x's make 5x's. Can't do it that easy because they are on opposite sides of the equation. So we're gonna have to use some inverse property, making some zero pairs to move one to the other side. So we could do it like this. We could say subtract 2x from both sides. That turns out to be a zero pair and it goes away. 2x minus 2x is 0. There's nothing there. The numbers, these two numbers over here did nothing, but this did something. 3x minus 2x. If I had 3 x's on the board and I erased 2 of them, how many x's am I left with? 1. So I have 1x, and remember that you can always write the invisible 1 with the x, if it's 1x, and then minus 3. These two numbers are also technically like terms, but we have a kind of a simple equation now. It says 5 equals a mystery number minus 3. So if you can figure that out in your brain, that's great. However, let's prove that this is what it is. So what I'm going to do is isolate my variable. I'm just going to get it by itself. It says get x by itself by adding 3 here. When I add 3 there, it makes minus 3 plus 3 go away. It cancels it out. It uses zero pairs to kind of move it. However, what we do with one side of the equation, we have to do to the other side. So that means 5 plus 3 is 8 and x. We're done over here. So now that x is by itself, it says x equals 8. We found our mystery number. Our mystery number was 8. Okay, let's try it one more time. Let's try it one more time. We're going to start with drawing my line and circling my like terms. So I got a 2p right there, 2p right there, and a 4p right there. All of these have p's. The letter p is the variable. It doesn't matter. It's still just a mystery number. All of these numbers are multiplied by the same mystery number, and it's supposed to be able to work in this equation. So let's see if we can figure out what this mystery number is. Okay, so first of all, I do have some like terms that are actually on the same side of the equal sign. This is when it's easy. We just kind of put them together, just a normal math problem, trying to make it easier on ourselves. So I'm going to rewrite this equation and make it a little bit easier on our brain. So this just rewrote it. That's all I did. I did nothing here. I did no math. I can't say 7 plus 2 because, and like make it 9 or something, because these are not like terms. One has a p and one does not. Can't put them together. However, the 2p and the 4p create 6p. And then this minus 13 as well does not have a little partner to go with on that side at least. So now our equation kind of looks like what we started with up here. We kind of had to shrink it before we started working with it. Okay, I'm going to circle my like terms again. I have this, oh, that was a bad circle. I have that one and that one. Those are both like terms. And technically these are like terms too, but I'm going to start with the ones that have variables on them. And so what I can do is either try to do the opposite of add 2p and kind of move it over here, or do the opposite of a positive 6p and subtract it from both sides. You kind of have like the power to do whatever. So I'm going to do minus 2p because I feel like if I subtracted 6 from 2, it would end up with a negative number, and we're just going to stay away from those. Not that it's a bad thing. Those cancel out because those are 0 pairs. I have 7 on this side equals 6p minus 2p is 4p, and then minus 13. So I have an even shorter equation now. Every time I try to do something, it's making my equation shorter and shorter to get the answer, okay? So here's my variable with the 4. Let's leave those alone for now, and let's focus on this minus 13. Remember when I go backwards, instead of subtracting 13 from this side, I could add 13 from this side. This is the inverse, creating 0 pairs, so it can go away. However, over here is an actual math problem. 7 plus 13, it equals 20. So I'm left with 20 equals 4p. Now at this point, you have like a little one-step equation left. You could probably figure it out. 20 equals 4 times some mystery number. So you probably might think about what that is in your head. However, in order to figure out the answer without just doing the calculations in your head, right now this 4 and this p are multiplying together because they're sitting next to each other. That's what it looks like. You're going to take the 4 and you're going to divide it from both sides because the opposite of multiplication is division. That is the inverse, and it allows us to get our p all alone. So the 4's scratch out, but the p does not. P stays here. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Our mystery number was 5. Okay, the next 2 rows will go a little bit quicker because this takes a lot of work, okay? If you are good, it is super important to understand how to solve equations because it helps you with a whole lot of other stuff in Algebra 1, which is next year, and Geometry, which is whenever you're a 10th grader. But there are other ways to solve equations, at least for us in 8th grade. So some examples could be like these right here. It says that you can solve numbers by plugging in the answer. So everybody should have your calculator with you. You're going to practice along with me. I'm going to go to the calculate screen. I'm going to delete whatever's there so it can look nice and fresh. Can you see that? Yes. So it says to type the equation straight into the calculator and replace x, or I'm sure with whatever letter we're working with at the time, with the answer choice that you want. It says the calculator will tell you if the choice was true or false. So first of all, remember that 4 and b are being multiplied, and this -2 and the b are also being multiplied. That is a -2, okay? There's nothing in front of it right here, so you say equals -2b plus 6, okay? So in the calculator, I could say, literally typing it straight in there, I could take 4 and then we'll pick an answer choice. We'll pick 3. Yeah, we'll try to we'll see if 3 is the right answer. 4, and then I'm going to use parentheses to show multiplication because you can actually use a multiplication symbol if you wanted, but I like to use parentheses. I feel like it kind of helps me. So 4 times 3, then minus, just like this says, and then 3. I'm pretending that my mystery number was 3. And then it says equals, so I actually have an equals button right here underneath the control sign, right there. I don't press enter, I press the equals because I'm going to get the calculator to tell me true or false. Then I'm going to type a -2, and I don't put make sure you type the negative for the negative, not the minus sign. And the 2, and then I'm not going to put the b again, I'm going to put the 3. Just like I said, my answer was 3. I'm thinking that the mystery number might be 3. And then it says plus 6. So once I press enter, it'll tell me true or false. And it says false, which means that this is not my answer. This is not my answer. So I could keep going with all of these, okay? There is a mistake on this one, so I'll kind of go over this one with you. And luckily for you guys, this one is on your independent practice page, which is coming after this video. So here's something kind of cool that happens. My calculator takes away my parentheses and it puts a multiplication symbol in between because it knows that that's what parentheses actually mean. And if I want to go type in the 1 instead to see if that's the answer, there's a little trick that I can do. I press the up button until it's highlighted, and then I press enter. So it's like copy and paste. I can scroll back to where I had originally put that 3, and I can delete it and put a 1. And same thing right there for the other b. I can scroll, delete it, put a 1. It also says false, which means this is the wrong answer. Okay. Last thing is, this answer is wrong. It's supposed to say 15, and not only that, it's supposed to say negative 15. So that was great of me. So I'm going to show you what this means. I put a 15 in that little spot, negative, and a negative 15 in that little spot. Just kidding. Maybe I was right. Let's try. Let's try this one. So I thought I was wrong. I put a 1.5 instead. Oh, just kidding. I was right the whole time. I thought that this answer was actually incorrect. I was supposed to put a 15, but I was wrong. So notice how I changed it out. I just had to kind of do some calculations real quick. I changed it out with a 1.5 and a 1.5 in those places that I had the B's, then it originally told me it was true. Okay, so that means this one is my answer. On your homework, on your independent practice, there is a problem right here, and it looks so much like this one. Even the answer choices are the same. It was my fault. I did not fix the answer choices. They are wrong. So, yeah. All right, the next one. Let's do it one more time. And actually, I'll skip this one. I'll move on to this one. I want you guys to try this one on your own. Okay. All right, the next one is the one that is super exciting because it is the calculator trick. It is called InSolve. It is called an equation solver. So it says, first we type the equations, or we type a code, basically like a cheat code, into our calculator, and the cheat code is menu 3, 1. So I first type the menu button, which is right here, menu, then 3, then 1. So in case you missed that, you type menu, and then you go down to 3, which is called algebra. So I can actually type the number 3. And then the first one says numerical solve. That is where we get the InSolve from. So menu 3, 1. And inside of the parentheses, you type this entire equation. It says type the equation inside the parentheses. And there's one final step. Make sure that you're typing all the correct symbols. Remember that we know that a minus sign and a negative sign basically are the same thing, but the calculator does not think that. The calculator knows that that is a negative y. However, this is a minus 5 because you read it that way. You say negative y plus 4 equals 3y minus 5. All right, so negative y plus 4, literally typing everything that I see. I also used the keyboard down here for the letter. I used the y down here, I think it was right under there somewhere for the letter. Negative y plus 4 equal sign, y, 3, y again. I used that little button down there for the letter. And then minus 5. It says the last thing you're going to make sure is to include a comma with the letter you're trying to find at the end of the inside of the parentheses. It's really specific. But before I press enter, you see how my little cursor is on the inside of the parentheses still? I have to tell the calculator what letter to find. So I use the comma. The comma is way down here underneath the pi sign. Comma, and then I put y because I got to tell the calculator, please find y for me. That is how I do it. Comma, y. Press enter, and it gives you your answer. You didn't have to do any of the other stuff to get the answer. Okay, so that was cool. Let's try it one more time with this one down here. Menu 3, 1. That is our cheat code. And inside of the parentheses, I typed this. This one reads, you read it like negative 3x plus 6 equals x minus 8. So, negative 3x plus 6 equals x minus 8. Remember the minus sign and the negative sign are very different in the calculator. So this time, oops. I said x minus 8, but I did not write x minus 8. So x down here, x minus 8, there we go. And then still inside the parentheses, not outside just yet, we will type comma x, because this time we used an x. It just tells the calculator what to find. That is the answer, 3.5. So now you guys have a trick. You can avoid doing the really long way of calculation for solving equations. You can just go use InSolve now. So you guys get a trick. Remember, after your videos, you always have an independent practice to work on, and you're done for the day.